All right, it's that time once again. Today we're gonna be cruising around the San Fernando Valley and checking some stuff out. The video that you're about to watch is actually made up of footage that I shot a couple of months ago. You'll notice at the end of the video, I mentioned it being December and near Christmas. Some stuff happened around that time that caused me not to release this footage in December, but I'm releasing it now. All right, before we get started, I wanna give a huge thank you to my newest Patreon supporters and YouTube members. All right, starting with my newest Patreon supporters, a huge thank you goes out to Ed Nieto PDX, hopefully I pronounced that right, and Aaron Ball. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. And then my newest YouTube members, starting with Alvin Fuentes, Spooky Morales, Rob Parson, Westside Media, Brad Dawkin, Martin Taylor, and Austin Powers. Thank you all so much for supporting me on Patreon and YouTube. And also just thank you for watching my videos and commenting and liking. If you want to support me on Patreon, go to patreon.com/80slife. To become a YouTube member, go to my page and click the membership button. But if you would like to support my channel without spending any money at all, you can just watch my videos, like my videos, comment on my videos, and most of all, share my videos. Please share my videos with all your friends and family and encourage them to subscribe. I really appreciate all of the support. All right, now let's go see what we can find. On the 405 right now, coming over the hill into the San Fernando Valley.
Hey, look at all the cars. This looks pretty nice.
Look at all the cars. Pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
On White Oak Avenue, just south of Victory, these are the old Little League fields, and I don't know when was the last time they used these, but it's obviously been a really long time. You can see everything in there is overgrown. The grass and weeds are about 3 feet tall, but somewhere in there, a little bit deeper, is the field that they used for the point in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And someone just told me that they've recently demolished that field, or demolished the dugout, maybe started to tear up the field. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping that's not true. Okay, so we can't currently get in there, but over on this side, you can see, it looks like all of these fields are still in use. You can see there's banners hung up for the teams that are playing there. Everything over here, I saw some people walking around in there, like maintenance workers, and I believe this is the side where the Fast Times field is. So hopefully, it looks like maybe the person that told me that field got ripped up. Hopefully they're mistaken. I'm gonna do a little bit of a deeper dive into that soon. So yeah, we'll find out more in the very near future. So this is Nobel Middle School in Chatsworth, California. And the reason why I'm showing this, well, there's actually a couple of different reasons why I'm showing this. Like I already mentioned, I'm gonna start showing a lot of random stuff in the valley that I just wanna document before it's gone. And also, I know there's gonna be at least a couple of people that watch this video that might have went to Nobel or knew other people that went to Nobel, or just have some kind of memories here. And I'm also showing this because I have a couple of memories here because my brother went to Nobel. Now, we lived in Reseda, but our grandparents lived here in Chatsworth, and my brother had some friends that went to this school and he wanted to go here. So my parents used our grandparents' address, and every day my brother would take the bus all the way up here to Nobel. And I'm not talking about a school bus, I'm talking about the RTD. Everybody remember when it was the RTD? Seems like a pretty crazy bus ride for a middle school kid, but it was the 80s. Anyways, because my brother went to school here, I have a couple memories of Nobel. First of all, I remember coming to my brother's middle school graduation here and being the only one that clapped when they called his name. I don't know if that was more embarrassing for him or for me, but another thing that I remember is being homesick from school one day and my mom getting a call that she had to come here to Nobel to pick up my brother because he had been in a fight. And so we got in the car and we drove all the way up here to Chatsworth, and my mom was really angry. Probably not so much that my brother got in a fight, but more that she had to drive up here to Chatsworth. We walked into the office, and as soon as we did, I saw my brother sitting there in his Bugle Boy polo shirt. It was ripped, it had dried blood on it. He had dried blood all around his nose. He was holding an ice pack on his head. Like, he was messed up. And my mom just looked at him and said something like, you know, "Oh, isn't this cute?" And I thought the whole thing was crazy. Like, I just thought that was such a wild situation. But probably the biggest memory I have here is the night that we dropped my brother off for a school dance. And this was right around the time that my parents were kicking around the idea of buying our first video camera. So we dropped him off at the dance, and then we went and they bought that video camera. And I want to say we went to Federated, but I'm not 100% sure. But they got the camera, and then we came back here to pick up my brother, and my mom thought it would be real funny to actually go into the auditorium to get my brother with the video camera on her shoulder. And remember, this is the 80s, so, you know, gigantic camera on the shoulder. So here we are, random lady and some little kid walking into a middle school dance, camera on the shoulder, filming all the kids. Nobody's even stopping us to ask us who we are and if we belong there. She finally finds my brother, and he takes off running, and she's chasing him around the auditorium. And I mean, not embarrassing for him at all. But what I really remember is walking into that auditorium, and it was pitch black. There was a DJ on the stage on the other side of the auditorium. He had his turntables, and on either side of him, he had speakers with red revolving police lights on them, and he was playing rap music. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. Like, I had never been in anything like that. I thought I was like up in the, you know, some amazing nightclub. It was so awesome. And then I remember as I was standing there looking around in awe, some kid came running towards me. And in my mind, this kid was like 20 years old. In reality, he was probably 12. But he came running towards me, and he jumped up and he ripped some crepe paper that was hanging from the ceiling. He ripped it down, and he looked me in the eye, and he screamed, "Ah!" and took off running the other way. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this place is a madhouse. This is wild. And then I got a little older, and I went to my first school dance, and it was total garbage. Like, it was nothing like what I remembered. It was definitely nothing like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was nothing like Can't Buy Me Love. I think school dances are one of the biggest letdowns that we have in life. There's a lot of letdowns, but school dances have got to be up there. And something that's really crazy about this school is up until just a couple of years ago, this was an open campus. Like, you could see, this is the sidewalk right here, that's the street, and then right here, these are the lockers. And there was no fence here. They actually just put this fence at the beginning of the pandemic. And I thought it was gonna be a temporary fence. I have a feeling they're gonna end up putting a permanent fence here. This one's been here now for a couple of years, but like I said, up until just a couple of years ago, this was just an open campus. The kids could just come and go as they please. Anybody could walk on campus. There was nobody regulating that. And I don't know about in other states, but here in California, and especially in Los Angeles, that's really rare. So after my brother graduated at Nobel, he came over here to Chatsworth High, and I think by that time we were living in Encino, which is even a little bit further than Reseda, and he was still taking the RTD to school every day, which is pretty crazy. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is when my brother went to school here at Chatsworth High, he was on the baseball team. You can see right here is the baseball field, and while he was going to school here, they were filming a TV show called Hardball. And it was a very short-lived show. Not a lot of people remember it. It was about a couple of cops, and then at the end of every episode, they would play a game of baseball while talking about what had happened during that episode. And the only reason we knew about it is because my brother would see them filming, and he would come home and tell us about it. And then so we decided to watch it. But yeah, for the 10 or 20 people that might remember the TV show Hardball, this is where it was filmed, right out here on this baseball field at Chatsworth High School. Hey, look at that. Chatsworth High School 2003 baseball team national champions. Good for them. Okay, so this is the corner of Devonshire and Canoga, and I know this area well because my grandparents used to live right up that way. If you go all the way up Canoga, up into those foothills right there, that's where they lived. And I was just thinking about it. I was driving by this area, and I don't know if I'm making this up, so I'm hoping someone else can confirm this. I feel like right over there in this building somewhere, there was a vacuum cleaner repair shop that was there forever. Like I remember that sign, like seeing that sign every time we went to my grandparents' house. And I also feel like at one point there was a surf skate shop there. Does anybody else remember this? Now also, since I'm standing here, I wanted to point out, right next to me is a Ralph's grocery store, but this wasn't always a Ralph's. If I remember correctly, when I was a kid, this was a Hughes grocery store. Now, one memory that I have of this grocery store is being at my grandparents' house for dinner, and their neighbor was over that they were really good friends with, and she was telling stories about how she remembered passing by this grocery store back in the day and seeing some people in the back dumpster diving, which of course now that's very common, but back then not so much. And so one day she stopped and asked these young girls that were dumpster diving if she could help them out and get them some food, and she ended up giving them a ride. And while she was giving them a ride, supposedly these girls were telling her all about Charlie and how they really want her to meet Charlie and how great Charlie is and how he takes care of them. So supposedly these young girls that she was giving a ride to were members of the Manson family, in which, if you don't know, the Manson family was staying at the Spahn Ranch, which is right down that way a few miles. And also right over there is the Munch Box, which is another place where a lot of people reported seeing the Manson family hanging out. So it would make total sense that they would be behind this grocery store dumpster diving. I don't know if it's true, but like I said, it does make sense. I can't remember if I did an update on this one or not, but Skateland Northridge is officially gone. You can see the sign is gone. Anything that, pointed to it being Skateland is gone. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something that's right down here on the corner. And this is pretty cool. I've actually never seen one of these before in person, at least as far as I know. I actually just learned what this was recently. I was at the LAPD museum in Highland Park, and I was talking to the guy that works there, and he was showing me these police call boxes that they have there on display. They've got a few of them. And I guess back in the day, they had these police call boxes and fire call boxes and time switch boxes that controlled the lights. And I guess all of the police and fire call boxes, there's no more of those that exist out in the wild anymore. They're all either, in private collections or museums. But he was saying that there's just a few of the time switch control boxes left in LA, and he had recently found one here in the San Fernando Valley, and here it is. Pretty awesome. This is on the corner of Sepulveda and Royal Oak Road, just about 2 miles south of Ventura Boulevard. And this is a really good example of how we drive by things all the time and don't notice them. I mean, I have driven by this hundreds of times. All the times I've taken Sepulveda Boulevard from the Valley out to West LA or Venice, I mean, literally hundreds of times I've driven right by this and never noticed it. And if I did, I wouldn't have even known what it was. Obviously, this predates the 80s. This has been here for a really long time. I want to say these boxes are from around like the 40s or 50s, maybe earlier, but don't quote me on that. I don't really know for sure. But like I said, obviously been here a really long time, long before the 80s. And he was telling me that this one was somewhat restored. Someone came out here and sanded it down and repainted it. But so I just wanted to point this out to all of you because I think it's really cool that there's a piece of vintage San Fernando Valley still here that, like I said, people are driving by it all the time and don't even notice it. And a lot of people probably don't know what it is, but here it is right here, a true Valley relic. And so thank you to Seth at the LAPD Museum for telling me where this was and for teaching me about these. So right now I'm on Ventura Boulevard in Encino, and I actually got out to film something completely different. And then I just noticed this while I was standing here. I have never seen this before. I was standing here and I noticed this and I wondered what it was. And then I noticed the sign above it. Rainbow Halo by artist John Morse, 2017. Rainbow Halo honors people killed in traffic crashes. This halo marks the location of an individual life loss. It casts a glimpse of hope for safer, healthier streets. Subject to the power of the sun, no matter how many times you see this light display, it will never appear exactly the same twice. And then they've got a bunch of flowers down here at the bottom of the lamppost. Really cool. Like I said, I've never seen one of these, never noticed this, and I just happened to notice it as I was standing here, and so I thought I'd point it out. All right, well, that is gonna bring us to the end of this video, and as I walk down Ventura Boulevard in Encino, I wanted to point out that right now, as I'm filming this section of the video, it's December, actually about a week before Christmas, and it's currently 80 degrees. The sun is beating down on me. You can see it shining on this side of my face, and it is really hot. But then next week, it's supposed to be raining all week, so you never know what you're gonna get in Los Angeles. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.